My husband's cousin stole the car we bought. I want to share something that has me on the edge of frustration and, honestly, emotional exhaustion. Maybe writing it out will help clear my mind and, hopefully, let me know if I'm justified in feeling so upset. It all started a few months ago when my husband and I bought a used car from one of his cousins. The car wasn't luxurious or brand new, but it was in good condition and fit our needs perfectly. It was an important milestone for us because we had been saving every penny for months to buy it. Between paying 2 mortgages, raising 2 kids, covering my master's degree tuition, and all the household expenses, saving money isn't easy. But we managed. My husband's cousin and her husband sold us the car, and to help them out, we agreed to pay the full price they asked, even though we knew it was more than the car's market value. We thought we were helping family, and besides, what could possibly go wrong? The first red flags. Not even 2 weeks had passed when her husband showed up at our house. He wanted to borrow the car because he needed to take care of something urgent. Although I wasn't thrilled about it, my husband, who has a soft heart and hates saying no, decided to lend it to him. I told myself it's okay, it's just this one time. Besides, it's family. That night, they returned the car with an almost empty tank. It barely had enough gas to make it to a station. I was upset because we had just filled the tank, but I let it slide. After all, their family, my husband kept saying. However, this opened the door for them to come back week after week with new excuses to borrow the car. My husband kept agreeing, and I grew tired of warning him that they were taking advantage of us. The worst part was that they didn't even have major responsibilities. They don't have kids or significant financial burdens. They live in her parents' house rent-free and don't pay for much else. Meanwhile, we're doing everything we can to stay afloat. I tried explaining to my husband how unfair this was, but he kept justifying their behavior with phrases like they don't have anyone else to help them or I don't want to create family drama. The confrontation. Last week, while my husband was away on a work trip, his cousin came to our house again. This time, I stood my ground and told her I wouldn't lend her the car. I was fed up with them always returning it with an empty tank and acting as if they had some sort of entitlement over something that no longer belonged to them. When I mentioned that if they needed a car so badly, they shouldn't have sold theirs in the first place, she exploded. She started yelling at me, saying we don't even have the money anymore because my husband spent it all on gambling and alcohol. I was stunned for a moment, but then I told her that wasn't my problem and asked her to leave. She stormed off, grumbling about how she would talk to my husband, but I thought she'd finally give up. The theft. A few days later, I took my kids to the grocery store to restock our pantry. When we left the store, my heart dropped. The car was gone. I panicked. I checked the parking lot several times, thinking I might have parked it somewhere else, but the car was nowhere to be found. I immediately called the police to report it stolen. The supermarket was kind enough to provide footage from their security cameras, but the images were blurry. All you could see was someone approaching the car, unlocking it with a key, getting in, and driving off as if it were theirs. I called my husband right away, and he alerted his family to keep an eye out for the car. We thought it might have been someone close to us who had been watching. And we were right. Hours later, my husband received a message from his cousin that said, "Stop looking for the car, I have it." It was just a joke. Then, we saw a video she had posted on her WhatsApp status. It showed the car parked at what looked like a party. People were drinking, smoking, and clearly using illegal substances. My husband wasted no time and called the police, providing them with the evidence. Not long after, his cousin was arrested, and the car was recovered. Family pressure. Since then, my husband's family hasn't stopped harassing us. They demand we drop the charges, saying it was just a misunderstanding and that we shouldn't ruin her life over a mistake. But to me, this wasn't a mistake, it was a deliberate act of theft. We also discovered that she had made a copy of the car key before selling it to us, which explains how she was able to take it so easily. What's worse is that my husband's family not only ignores this but now blames me for dividing the family. The passive-aggressive comments and relentless calls haven't stopped. The unexpected twist. What we didn't expect was that this scandal would uncover a secret the family had been hiding for years. It turns out this wasn't the first time my husband's cousin had been involved in legal trouble. She had previously stolen a credit card from an uncle and had been caught taking valuable items during family gatherings. But in every case, the family chose to cover it up, claiming she was young and needed help. Now that we're refusing to drop the charges, her case is moving forward. She's facing multiple charges, not just for stealing the car, but also for possession of illegal substances. Her husband, who appears to have orchestrated everything, is also under investigation. To top it off, the car they sold us wasn't fully paid off. There's still an outstanding loan on it, which now falls on us to resolve. Our decision. We've decided to cut ties with that side of the family entirely. My husband, who initially tried to mediate, finally realized this wasn't just a family mistake. It was a pattern of abuse that we weren't going to tolerate anymore. Although this ordeal has left us with financial burdens and emotional scars, we've learned a valuable lesson: not everyone in the family deserves our trust. The last we heard about his cousin, she was desperately begging other relatives for help, claiming we had ruined her life. But at this point, I don't care. If this experience has taught us anything, it's that our peace of mind and dignity are priceless.